would like to start by emphasizing the critical role that forums like ThinkFest play in our society. In challenging times when social, economic, and political uncertainties abound, fostering spaces for intellectual dialogue and cultural exchange becomes more important than before. In an age where misinformation is rampant and polarization is increasing, it is vital that we invest in nurturing a culture that value ideas, debates, and diversity of thoughts. Literary festivals and events like ThinkFest are essential to shaping narratives that encourages inclusivity and innovation. Private sectors and corporations like the Bank of Punjab and OGDCL must recognize that their role extends beyond the balance sheet. They are part of the social fabric, and their commitment to fostering intellectual growth directly impacts the prosperity of the communities they serve, and that drives sustainable long-term economic social progress. With that, let me now turn to the pressing issue at hand, the economic stability of Pakistan and structural reforms required. Over the next 2 days, we will have the opportunity to engage with some of the sharpest minds around the world to tackle critical themes shaping Pakistan's trajectory: fiscal reforms, export competitiveness, sustainable development, international relations, governance, and social equity. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's economy is at a breaking point, and the cost of inaction of fixing it is unthinkable. Without decisive structural reforms, we risk a spiral of economic stagnation, rising inequality, and social unrest. But history tells us that moments of crisis are also opportunities for transformative change. This is our movement, perhaps. Let's grab it with both the hands. At the heart of Pakistan's economic woes lies a bloated fiscal imbalance. The country spends far more than it earns, and composition of spending is deeply flawed. Subsidies, instead of lifting the vulnerable, overwhelmingly benefit powerful lobbies across. This distortion perpetuates rent-seeking and undermined productivity. Following are my key recommendations for further debate and discussions in this context during the conference, particularly in the session with the Secretary of Finance. How to shift the untargeted subsidies to smart, time-bound interventions. I must mention, by the way, the credit goes to Yaqub for dragging everybody along, especially the people who generally shy away from the camera, like Secretary of Finance and Secretary FBR and all. All credit to him. How to move away from accounting mindset to a strategic and out-of-the-box solutions for debt management and the affairs of finance division. I must look forward to what Finance Secretary has to say about it. Align fiscal and monetary policies to mitigate the impact of debt-driven inflation and debtflation that neutralizes monetary tightening efforts. Devolution of financial and political power with inherent benefits of efficiency and accountability. The China model may be mooted. Low savings and investments, a cultural issue, or economic, or for that matter social, must be talked about. Pakistan's tax system is not just inefficient, it is inequitable. Effectively, over 90% of the tax collected is in indirect ways. Result is that it disproportionately affects the poor. I will soon be writing about my theory of fountainhead and pond analogy, describing the source of problem and its manifestation on the economy overall, where 52% of the GDP is out of the tax ambit. Suggestion for the session for Chairman FBR, well, to start with the elephant in the room, is there a need to implement a progressive wealth tax targeting high-value, untaxed real estate, agriculture holdings, and luxury assets. Thomas Piketty's Time for Socialism may be a reference point. We all know that substantial work is being done on digitization of tax system. However, the challenge to access the treasure trove, data from utilities, banks, telcos, may remain a challenge, and how to overcome that challenge. With an estimated infrastructure financing gap of US $10 billion annually, Pakistan cannot solely rely on public funds. Public-private partnership offer a proven model to leverage private capital and expertise. In this respect, would suggest following areas to be covered for discussion. Streamlining the existing PPP frameworks across the governments, receding from conventional PSDP and ADP. I would like, the speakers today, the panelists to talk about the side effects of PSDP and ADP too. How to target high-impact sectors like logistics, renewable energy, digital infrastructure, and most importantly, social sector through PPP mode. Reform, ladies and gentlemen, cannot succeed without systemic tweaking in the prevailing governance layout and framework. In this space, would like to see on strengthening regulatory independence across all regulators, establishing regulators where they are missing, how to make them inclusive institutions in the words of Robinson and Ajmolo, what's the optimal level of regulations which leaves enough room for innovation. Is there a process of evolution there? How to leverage technology and promote financial inclusion, and most importantly, the nexus of digital, social media, and economy. Last but not the least, turn the plans into action. What can we learn from others who have done it successfully? Ladies and gentlemen, inclusive reforms are always burdensome across the societies and requires collective ownership. In recent times, there has been extensive discussions about various charters. The charters of democracy, the charter of economy, the charter of business. However, none have materialized, arguably due to lack of public buy-in. Real pressure of executing such arrangements or bargains, in the words of my dear friend Stephen Darkin's fascinating book, Gambling on Development, who probably is present in this hall also. Right there, I could see him. And you will have the pleasure of listening to him later today, must be driven from bottom up. Therefore, achieving consensus on any facet of politico-economic landscape should bargain with the idea of Charter of Society. With the Charter of Society in place, taking difficult decisions from executives to judiciary to establishment becomes easier and palatable. The risk of backlash essentially eliminates. Let's hope and wish that in the next 2 days, through this eminent platform of ThinkFest, we make progress and travel towards arriving at a harmony on the way forward for transforming our economy, our society, for a better Pakistan, and for our future generations. Thank you very much.